Me never raise him, me never raise him, me never raise him so. Somewhere along the line, my son got messed up, you know. Me clothe him, me feed him, me watch him every day, boy, I talk to him. Oh yeah.
Good evening. It's January 24th, 2012. I'm your host, Dr. Peter K.B. St. Jean. You're looking at a live taping of the Peaceful World Movement Network with our show, The Peaceful World Movement in Focus. Today we have with us a special guest discussing a very special topic, Mr. Robert Hunter, who is currently a resident at St. Leonard's house, discussing with us how can we help to make a change in the mindset of young gang-involved youth or wannabe gang-involved youth. Mr. Hunter?
Pleasure to be here tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It's can you just introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, I'm Robert Hunter, and I used to be one of those youth. Because the situation, lifestyle, neighborhoods I come out of, and things like that, and the choices that I thought I had. But the time I got involved, it was a community effort. It's community, to hold the community together, to protect the community. But it evolved into something else. You know, through a lot of things that we don't have the time to really discuss tonight how it got to that point. But the thing of it is at that point, and we trying to find a solution for the violence, for the killing, for the crime.
And you may wonder what it is that Mr. Hunter is talking about. And as some of you know, I'm from the Caribbean island of Dominica. I do work around the world in different countries and in different contexts. And the Peaceful World Movement, as rightfully says, concerned about issues of development of peace on macro level. We talk about world peace issues, but we also, and even more so, interested in micro level peace, you know, the peace within ourselves, within our families, within our communities. And one of the things that I see as a criminologist and a sociologist that does work in different parts of the world is that sometimes when I show up, I remember when I was going to school in Japan at Sophia University and at Simon Fraser University in Canada, when I visited Oslo, Norway, and Leiden in the Netherlands, that sometimes people see me and I am in their company and they try to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
They try to walk with a certain swagger, they try to talk in a different type of way, and sometimes they come at me as if I'm a part of some kind of gangster life.
Yeah.
And we never realize sometimes how much the influence of the gangster lifestyle. I'm not talking about the Al Capone type of lifestyle. I'm talking about
the American gangster.
The American gangster, right? The American urban gangster.
Urban gangster.
The way that the youth in Jamaica, in Trinidad, in Dominica, in a lot of different countries are emulating that type of lifestyle. Yeah. A lot of them are emulating that type of lifestyle without even having any idea how that lifestyle began.
Or the consequences behind it.
Or the consequences behind that. And so we have that rare opportunity to talk to someone who was one of the original parts of the beginning. Of course, we can say that the gangster lifestyle began way before Robert Hunter was alive. But it escalated during the time when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that he's proud about, but it's something that he wants to use through his experience to help make some changes, especially when we read. In fact, you brought it to my attention today about the article. Tell the viewers about the article that was in today's Sun Times regarding the police in Inglewood and Harrison.
Inglewood, Lawndale area. Police are cracking down. They're cracking down on gang violence, drug selling. They're cracking down. And see, in that crackdown, you black.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be selling dope or going to school, but you part of that crackdown.
Mm-hmm.
And you might wind up having your child or you shot dead on the streets. Because when they crack down on everybody.
Because we are seeing that while the crime in Chicago, violent crime and murders in Chicago, basically reduced last year, it actually increased. I think it's 40% or something.
It moved from one area to the other.
It increased in Inglewood.
Yeah.
So the police, the police chief down there, and the mayor and the chief of the superintendent of police is saying, no, we have a new order. There is a new gang. There is a new a gang task force guy who's actually going to be the head of that section now. So in a moment, we have a caller here, but in a moment, we'll talk to the caller here, but in a moment, Mr. Hunter is going to give us a sense about his involvement, his gang involvement as a young person. And after serving 35 years in jail for a double homicide, he will explain to you what this lifestyle has, how he got involved, and what happened throughout this 35 years, and the journey that he's on to help make changes within our community the way that he has made changes within himself. Caller, you're with us. Caller.
All right, gentlemen, I'll be brief. Great show.
Thank
Do you think you gentlemen we all should try to persuade our young people and some of our 20-year-olds to delay having children? Just to I'm not saying don't have them.
Yes.
But to delay having, because if we just hold off, I think a 45-year-old mom is more wiser than a 15-year-old mom. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, brother. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. You are only going to be a teenager once in your life. And if you can spend time to build your capacity, there's no expiration date on sex.
No.
There's no expiration date on women. There's no expiration dates on men. As a matter of fact, when you get a little bit older, they even get a little bit better because you know what you're doing a little more, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very good point that the caller made. Thank you for that contribution. And I know that I know the drugs and the sex and all of that is part of the youth. But give the callers a little bit about your history, where you grew up, and how how your life unfolded, your teenage years and into your adult years.
Well, I grew up in Champaign, Illinois.
Okay.
But I used to come back and forth from Chicago, the west side, because I knew people, relatives and things.
Speak a little louder.
Relatives and things. And I got involved with vice lords, conservative vice lords, in 1964, 65, something like that. But at the time I got involved, it was a community activist group, feeding children, daycare, trying to educate kids. Because at the time it was doing the civil rights movement, But like in all cases, it's a lot of politics is involved. The story is long.
But let's step back. Let's bring us back a little bit. You are what age now? You're what age?
I'm 62.
You're 62 years now. But how old were you when you got involved in the vice law?
14.
14 years old. You are a 14-year-old young man.
Yeah.
In Champaign, you're communicating to Chicago.
Yeah.
Somehow, this thing called the vice law attracts you. Why?
Because, like I said, I was doing the civil rights movement.
Okay.
Black people was coming together.
Okay.
Black communities was black communities then.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the nature of the whole thing was to protect the community.
Okay. So the vice law, from your understanding, that's a protection for the black community.
Yeah, because we were feeding kids.
Okay.
Daycare. Educating kids. We was doing all of that. But like I said, politics comes into play. See, when black folks want to set their own agenda, for some magical reason, other people come out the woodworks.
So now you're 14. You hear about the vice laws. You're hearing this is our community. This is civil rights. This is a group of men, black men that want to stand up for our community.
For our community.
I want to be a part of that.
Yes.
Do you have any of the stereotypes that somehow your mother wasn't home, your father wasn't home, you were trying to find a father figure?
No.
Okay.
No. But there was others in the community that didn't have it, that need that protection.
Okay.
And that's where I was going to stand in the gap at.
Okay.
You see. That's how it started.
So you started for protection for your family.
Sure. For the community, not just family.
For the community. So give me you are until 16 years. Your first 2 years you're involved. What types of things that you guys are doing as a part of the vice law that proves to you that you are there standing up for the community?
We're feeding kids. We're community centers. Organizing community projects. All type of things, all those things that the community needs, that this community needs today. See, and that's the problem right there. See, and the same thing came into play then that's coming into play now, where people from downtown think they can police your neighborhood, but they can't.
So now you are coming together to control and police your neighborhood, to protect your neighborhood from outside influences. And are the inside influences that you are trying to...
Sure, it's always inside influence.
That you're trying to protect against?
Sure. Because the stronger the community gets, politically, politicians don't want that. Certain politicians in that era didn't want that.
So, all right, so you're here. Is it working? You're 16, 2 years. You're 14, 2 years. You feeling good still? That
feeling real good.
That I'm doing something for my community, right? Is the
real
group
good.
calling itself a gang? What's it calling itself? Is it self-identified?
A nation.
It's called itself a nation,
Yeah.
right? The idea of gang.
Never been called a gang.
You didn't join up a gang. You didn't.
No, I didn't join no gang.
You didn't join a
I
gang.
joined an organization.
You joined an organization for the betterment and improvement of black folks.
Sure.
Okay. So now you're feeding folks, you're feeding young people, you're building community centers, you're doing positive things, you're feeling good about what you're doing. But at some point, something happened. At some point, that thing that you got involved in. So how did it evolve?
It always, something always happened, and that something, it always boils down to economics.
Okay. So what happened? Tell me.
See, when unemployment gets high, who gets laid off first?
Well, it depends on what the.
Not in America.
Okay.
You know, black gonna get laid off first.
So you're telling
So
me.
therefore, the community suffers economically.
Okay. So what was that era in the 60s? So there was a massive unemployment. Is that
Yeah.
okay? And then the device changed its mode. What happened?
Well, not necessarily that, but see, it's a whole big political thing because drugs are introduced into the community.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Drugs are introduced into the community. You got certain guys that say, "I got to eat. I got to eat."
So now we have a group of black men defending the community.
Yeah.
They are defending the community from problems from the outside, problems from the inside, but they don't have much of an economic plan for themselves.
True,
Is that right?
True.
Right? You were here, whatever you were doing, if you were a janitor, if you were a mechanic, if you were a carpenter, that's what you do.
That's what you do.
And then you protect the neighborhood.
That's what you do.
So now when that carpentry or that
disappears.
stuff disappears, you have to feed your family.
Yeah. Those ones that's willing to get into it becomes the power because they're the bankroll. And people got to eat.
Mama is well known in the neighborhood. All her friends gathered when they heard the news to give their support anyhow they could. They said, "Be strong, Mildred. We know that's not how you raise your children." She looked them straight in the eyes. She just broke down and just could not hold back her tears. You heard the neighbors. She never raised him, she never raised him, she never raised him so. Somewhere along the line her son got messed up, She clothe him, she feed him, she watch him every day, but she talk to him. Oh yeah, but Johnny got caught up in the wrong crowd, She never raised him, she never raised him, she never raised him so. Somewhere along the line her son got